Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the
Good morning, guys. How's it going? We got the chat. We got Coma here first, as usual. Sunny trying to beat him. Got Sterling. Got Angel. How you doing? Bull Runner. Mikey. RP. Noah. Trip. Robert. So Bitcoin crashed to 56K soon, question mark? We'll see. Yeah. It's just like stale in this valley area right now. Got Lava Man. What's up? How you doing, man? Yeah, Peb in the house. Josh. All right. Madera. Good morning. All right, so I'm short right now, but with a partial entry. And I'll go through why we jumped in with a partial and not like a full amount. Because there is an opportunity here for potential retracement after bouncing off of the 55-day point of control. Let me just zoom out on this thing. So looking at Bitcoin here, we are testing the downtrending momentum that's been keeping us down since 76K. We had this like awkward step laddering SFP event that was rotating our key levels throughout this structure, and we got that break of structure after testing this uptrending momentum and losing it. Right, so at this apex point, we end up breaking to the downside. Retested, got below the VWAP, and I entered around here after we had that break of structure on the following candle with 50% of my risk, stop loss above this high. I am looking to see if we retrace and grab the newly added liquidity, because this kind of posture is usually good for an inducement to add more liquidity up here. So if we grab that with the golden pocket 786, we get the orb ceiling here. This is the first 15-minute candle open for the day. So what I'm hoping to see here before adding to my position is like a sweep of these highs as an SFP and a close back inside the orb, preferably below the VWAP as well, in confluence with all that, and then add to my position during that situation. Or we can top here, use the neckline on the orb ceiling as support, and then close back inside and go in on that close, and then being cautious again at this point of control. We have scenario for continuation, of course. So if we end up, our invalidation point is based on that continuation. So if this high here, if we get a close above this, we'd break this downtrending momentum after essentially having a support bounce off of the POC, and that can give us a move up to 71,000 is where I'll be watching for opposing confluences. We have the 50-day EMA here. We have the equilibrium point to a daily order block here. And our value area high is all kind of clustered in one spot. So if we do have that continuation, this is our next area of interest for potential shorts. Or this could be an area of interest for potential longs if you have the R&R to like bring you there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now for Bitcoin. So I've got a partial entry just because we had all those confluences with us for the entry. And that's just a matter of, and I just want to make sure that if it were to run away from us, that I got in with a partial. But it's common after like New York session for situations like this to occur as well. So if you're patient and you didn't want to go in with a partial, like nothing wrong with that too, right? Patience pays. So I'll be DCAing the remaining of my regular risk into the trade if we have a good reaction here. See, we got good stage liquidity for this move down. We got some stacking here, 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 and here. We have our previous day VWAP at this value area high, so we'd have to watch that. That would likely induce a bounce to retest the point of control and come down. So maybe we get this descending like head and shoulders kind of posture. Let me see how that plays out. Down here, we can prepare for continuations. So at first, we got to watch 66,100. However, if we use the value area as resistance, then that will give us a target extension, evolving our R&R to be much further down. We'd be watching this wick level low at 64.9, and then if we get a close below that and we have another follow-up brick of structure, then we can come down to as low as 63,100. Whereas 63,100 is a really, really strong level, so I'm not banking on it to break. But yeah, we are kind of setting the stage. If we do get this rejection down, lower, I'm on the hourly now. We are setting the stage for a strong move up as we keep stacking more and more liquidity above us, right? We have a ton of liquidity at 72,000. So if we do have that continuation up and we breach past our opposing confluences at 71K, 72K, think of that like a good optimal location for a market maker to have an exit plan, because there's so much liquidity resting there. More so here than there is here. Let's see. We were dancing around the 5-second chart this morning, seeing how price action was behaving. That's fun. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Nice work. Let's see what plays out. Yeah. You think if it gets to 661, it won't test the low of the 65K in balance? Oh, yeah. 66.1 is just an area of confluence, but the key levels really come from below these levels where liquidity is resting, right? So 64.9 area and 65.8, right? If when we grab that liquidity, that could be used as a great tool for our reversal. So if we have, let's say we have an opposing bullish change of character though, then we can assume that area is guarded. So we have to watch for opposing structure to kind of give us that idea that it could be potentially guarded, and we end up stacking more and more below it. Same reasoning as to why we could get a rejection here, as to like these levels being guarded from sell walls. We're fighting against the VWAP right now. Got a bit of a doji reaction so far. I'll put a note on my chart here for anyone who just jumps in, just in case they ape in on the short position tool being on my screen. As he entered with, okay. Oh, Alex of Crypto's in the house. Yeah, the community was acting weird during the call this morning, suggesting I would trade 1 Bitcoin for every nude pic that I'll get in my DMs. I forgot it was April Fool's Day. Kyle, I'm gay for you. I don't believe that's an April Fool's joke. Your whole family is just a cover-up, man. Chart's so choppy. Just send it over already. Lower already. Yeah, I hear ya. That guy sounds like someone who just got off last week. Yeah, every time I'm on a call with Alex of Crypto, he's at a range, just smashing balls. We have in the chat. We got Curves here now. What's up? P Software. Do you think it can get? Oh, okay. We already said that. Keen Being. How you doing? We're doing great, man. Thank you. At 2 o'clock, we got that the song and the intro is going to be released. I got it scheduled to be released. I scrambled this morning to create the thumbnail with Sterling. You're 1/4 of bot. Nice. What do you guys want to look at? Okay, let's take a peek at Solana. Solana has some relative strength. I mean, relative weakness, sorry. We are at its 54-day and 108-day value area low. It's basically just behaving the same way it did the last time we were in a 108-day value area. We have a local value area induced by this supply here, keeping us down in this range. We're kind of dancing at the point of control. We had that bounce after grabbing the lower side liquidity, and we're coming up to test this VWAP here. If we breach this VWAP, then we could watch the value area high again for shorts. But yeah, basically it's on its journey right now, potentially down to that value area low again, where it can prepare for longs. It has its crazy wick level low too at 78.96, where we can prepare for that potential sweep. But yeah, we lost that momentum, lost VWAP as support, use it as resistance and confluence with that momentum, and then we're kind of on a slow crawl down right now. So it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not really a good trading zone for Solana. Zcash, we were looking at Zcash this morning too. We're preparing for the scenario of us coming back up to sweep this high. We've undercut it by a very small amount, at least on the Binance chart. This might have been taken on other exchanges, but yeah, we got it undercut a bit, so we stacked more liquidity. We have our value area high here, our 50-day EMA here. So when we came down, we had an aggressive reaction here where we bounced off its hourly order block that we had below us. So coming back down, that order block is significantly weaker. Like, a lot of people consider it mitigated off of one tap. So if there's any residual orders on here, majority of them are taken because we pretty much got to that equilibrium point. But yeah, we're kind of getting squeezed right now. We've already had a body candle close below this body structure. It's that price acceptance after losing the momentum on this uptrending momentum from $210. Like, this could end up leading us down with those confluences to at least the ceiling of that 6-hour order block at $220, where we can prepare for reversals again for Zcash at its value area low. Alright, so we might get that lower high. We might come up and creep up and hit our head off here again too. This wick really kind of just messes up the stage for preparing for structural confluences for the short. So anything, doing things based on like body candle closes, it just feels forced, you know? So if you're looking for shorts on Zcash, like, hopefully you're already in because it's kind of messy. Where we looked at Dogecoin this morning too. What we were talking about recently kind of played out. We got to that value area low after losing this key level. We have a current key level right now, which is here for that rotation down. The thing is with this high here, we had a lot of confluences. We hit our head off the 650-day value area high. We got to the local point of control. But you had to depend on like the 3-minute time frame for the confirmation of the drop, which is not a time frame everyone uses for their trading. So we had a proper pullback here with these 2 consecutive candles defining this as the low. So when we came up and got that high taken, we got the change of character after we closed below this. And then this was like the regression trend target for this low time frame internal structure. Once we lost that was a strong follow through telling us that we're coming down. But like I said, not many people use this structure to define their entry plans for shorts. It could have been good structure for an exit plan on longs, telling you that we're not likely to go any further, takes them off the table. We could retrace. If we look at the Fibonacci retracement, we don't really have an opposing change of character yet on this time frame to define a proper pull. But we got a fair value gap here that we could potentially fill if we were to come up higher before going down. But if we take this low with the full body candle close, then we're very likely to have this pathing down to 0.08962. I can delete this. This was helpful yesterday if you potentially took the short So we got that bounce reaction off the order block. We flipped bullish during this moment. We retraced from this high to this low. We got the golden pocket entry after testing these lows. So lots of good confluences here. Just have to watch the VWAP along the way down. And then target the value area low. The same targeting, just different entry conditions. Back to Bitcoin. How you doing? Bitcoin is tapping the 15-minute orb right now. The ceiling. Is that fishhook pattern still in play? Yes. Zoom out. So this is the fishhook structure. We come up. Whenever you see a fishhook, it's always beneficial to look for supply, right? Because that's likely the location where we're going to hit our head. Either off the floor of it like we did, or as high as the ceiling where the liquidity is, right? We didn't take out the 4-hour order block, but we took out, I believe, a higher time frame order block, like the 6-hour. I'll double check on that. But yeah, this is the parabolic curve. We had hourly structure defining the entry for that parabolic curve. We got the change of character, lost the 50-day EMA, lost the parabolic curve momentum, right? Hit our head off of supply floor, and down we went. Got acceptance in the value area telling you could extend your target because you'd be really mindful of this value area high potentially acting as support. And we kind of continued down to the value area low. The opposing confluences that tell you you should be taking some off the table for that short is the this bullish change of character. We had a stupid SFP that was really aggressive, kind of made it so that you couldn't really get in unless you got in on the retracement for a long. But yeah, this was kind of like the opposing structure telling it we could be coming back up to rotate to the value high. And right now we're using opposing structure to define potential roadblock. We have the supply here that we just mitigated, and momentum kind of telling us that we could be coming down instead with that kind of squeeze event. But yeah, when it comes to fish hooks, they can make you go as low as the extreme low. But always look for opposing confluences that tell you otherwise. It takes them off the table. Like fish hooks usually set the stage for a double bottom, but other times they can also set the stage for a really strong continuation if we close below the extreme low of the fish hook. We're getting close to that golden pocket. Let's see if we sweep it. Let's send this back so it's not. There we go. Good morning, Ryan. How you doing? If you're going to add to your short, where would you add? If I add to my short, it'll be based on the criteria of us sweeping these highs, right? When we had this break of structure, they leads to an inducement of adding liquidity. So we come up here, and what I want to see is sweep of the high, close back in the orb, right? Or even better if we close below the VWAP. Or if we don't have like a simple SFP, if we have an internal change of character, close back inside the orb, then I'll add to that positioning during like that moment, keeping true to my current stop loss, and then yeah, basically yeah, DCAing so that my full risk of my normal trade would be in. So when I put in 50%, it's based on low confidence, and then I can. But we have all the confluences we need, and I just want to make sure that the opportunity is still there for me if it went straight down. But in this scenario is where I'll be adding to my position to like validate resistance and a potential continuation and improve my average. But yeah, a close above here will invalidate everything because we're going likely to 71K. Currently on the road. I'll catch you when you land. Are you in a flying car? Just kidding. It's ready for a run. Yeah. I think we're all caught up in the chat. So we went over Bitcoin, Solana, Zcash, and Dogecoin. Is there anything else you guys want to go over? While I wait for your response, I'm going to check out dominance here. Zoom out. Go to the daily. Yeah, it's not, so dominance is right now. It's kind of coming up to potentially test the value area low. We have this downtrending momentum. Leads to, there's a bit of an apex between the momentum and the value area low at 58.8%. We're at 58.72%. So prepare for potential bearish reaction here. Like if Bitcoin dominance goes down and USD dominance goes up, then it tells you that the funds are flowing out of Bitcoin dominance or out of Bitcoin and into USDT during that moment. It seems like funds might be flowing out of USDT and mostly into others, so altcoins right now. We have dominance confluence here at 57.34%. There's a key area here that we can get a reversal if we were to get the lower low on Bitcoin dominance and go lower. This would coincide with USD dominance reaching its extreme highs in its range. Potentially as high as like 8.484%, where these wick level highs are 8.549%, and the extreme high or the all-time high is at 9.50%. We are currently testing uptrending momentum that's been keeping it up since 7.17%. So if we do see a bounce here from like basically the confluences of this volume shelf, this downtrending momentum, and this uptrending momentum, they're all kind of apexing in one location. We'd have to watch the POC along the way up, but yeah, this would be kind of like the make it or break it moment for USD dominance. And if this falls below here, down to like this 50-day EMA, or close to the value area low, then Bitcoin's going to go up, likely to like 71, 72K. So this is like 72K for Bitcoin. And then up here is around like 65. Yeah, 65.9K for Bitcoin. Go to the hourly. Yeah, that whipsaw event. So this is basically Bitcoin upside down. Whipsaw event up here. Change character and retest. So yeah, this is a big moment right now. Going to Bitcoin again. See how it's doing. Just barely wasn't able to get the order block. It's slowly creeping. Cardano, S&P. What's ADA doing? Yeah, last time I looked at Cardano, we were preparing for sweep. break of momentum. We got the SFP. That was really close. If you didn't trust the SFP, look for these, the engulfing response, right? So we got that sweep that we were kind of asking for. We broke momentum. But we didn't go up very far. We came up to the supply risk right here. And came right back down. And like this was our confirmation that we weren't going up any further. We had this opposing change of character right after hitting supply. Looking here, we are below a valley area, but we've also established a new one. So we have, whenever you see a impulse move down, basis structure, impulse move down, we create supply. An opposing reaction, supply, opposing reaction. You can start looking at potentially preparing for pulling at a valley area, like a dependable valley area. So at this point, we could pull a fixed range volume profile from below this valley area, this supply, from here to here. We can delete this. We are ascending. Yeah, we got this ascending support. So we're stacking liquidity below us, taking from above us. So we're kind of setting the stage for more liquidity to be below us. If we were to come back up higher, I would anticipate for us to hit our head here and come back down. We have a valley area low here at 25.77. What's the age of that? That's kind of deviating below this valley area for a while. 54 days. So in a spot environment, that this is a good spot to prepare for accumulation, especially after getting acceptance into this valley area. If you want to get in a position of strength, it could bring us back up to this valley area high at 28.65, where the 6-hour order block is. But we have to watch out for the opposing confluence of the 50-day EMA, kind of currently aligning with that point of control at 27.22. But locally, right now, we're kind of in no man's land. We hit our head off this valley area high, similar to how Dogecoin did too, kind of just aggressively and forced into a lower time frame. And even then, like, you didn't get the change of character until way down here because we didn't take the high. We got the pullback, we got the flip, we got a bearish flip, which are a little bit less dependable when you have those closes below them. Stop loss on the high, but this is an unclaimed high that could be taken. With those kind of structures always bother me. But we had that follow-up break, change of character here, kind of on our way potentially down. But locally right now we got the bounce off the POC. A little bit of an inverse head and shoulders kind of posture, but we took liquidity already from that high. With inverse head and shoulders, if you want a higher probability of them playing out, you don't want the left shoulder's liquidity already taken. You want it to be stacked, so it could be used as buy-side liquidity to drive the market back up. And this scenario makes it kind of messy. So you would want to have price acceptance back above this wick if you want to see a higher percentage chance of follow through to its measurable target, which is based on momentum from here to here. Yeah, bring us pretty much to 25.24. We got a bearish order block here, align with that target, which we almost mitigated, but we didn't tap it. Let's send this to back. What's the 3-minute time frame I'm looking at? So little guy. That's the bullish case scenario, but we're riding on in a downtrend that was confirmed during this moment. if we have acceptance back inside this, or yeah, you can watch this momentum, but if it fails, we can come back down to the point control, wait for a close below that low, and then have a rotation down to its value area low again. I think Bitcoin's going to be a big dictator of what happens to Cardano today. And Cardano has a lot of pairing liquidity with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's kind of the boss when it comes to its like local structure. It does sometimes have relative weakness. Like it's staged right now with relative weakness below its macro value area low like this, where Bitcoin's positioning is like roughly around here, right? Well, that's Cardano. I hope that helps you out. Let's see. Does the chart and dominance still follow TA properly? So dominance charts have, you can use valley areas with them. There's some things that don't transfer from TA over to dominance charts. So when you're looking at like Bitcoin dominance or UC dominance or others dominance, what you're looking at essentially is the market cap. How much does this asset own in terms of the entire crypto space's market cap, right? So USD dominance is telling us that it owns like 7.89% of the crypto space's market cap. So like you can understand like key areas of interest based off this using valley areas, using structure, but you can like there's no liquidity on this chart, right? So if an SFP were to occur, then what you're basically assuming is that an SFP occurred on multiple charts and on assets, right? So like others dominance is a good way of explaining that, where it's all of the crypto space other than the top 10. So if you see like us getting squeezed between the 200 and the 50-day EMA, then you can kind of assume that with other assets too. When we get to a value area high, you can assume that other assets are getting there too. A point of control, value area low. Did we just create a 6-hour order block? So it's just kind of like telling you like what a majority of assets are kind of building. So there's going to be a lot of similarities with this chart and altcoins that are not a part of the top 10. If that makes sense. So some things don't transfer in terms of TA, but a majority of things do. And it kind of acts like a crystal ball when you're looking at areas of interest. Like, for example, like 57.34%. When Bitcoin dominance comes down to there, we got to prepare for its dominance to likely return back up and have relative strength over altcoins during that moment. Same with others dominance. When we are getting up to its all-time high, which is 9.5%, we should prepare for Bitcoin, because this is inversely correlated to other assets, right? When a lot of funds flow into USDT, then it tells you a lot of funds are leaving other assets and that they're kind of dropping, but you can prepare for the fund to flow back into it around certain key areas, like its value area high, flow out at the value area low, stuff like that. So it's just like a confluence-based indicator of what's likely to come. It's a lot easier to use it in a macro setting. It doesn't mean it's not helpful in a lower time frame setting, but I typically use it in a more of a macro setting because it helps you prepare for those larger moves. But there's no liquidity on those charts. But it can help you understand where liquidity is assumed on other charts. But every asset has their own unique, key levels and stuff like that. And it's not very helpful for assets who currently have relative strength. Like if there's a narrative for like privacy tokens, for example, or AI, they might be separate from what you would see on those charts. So if you're seeing like an asset do extremely well, but others don't doing really poorly, then that kind of tells you that asset might have relative strength and could be moving on its own for a little bit. Any trades we can take. That's all based on your own rules, but I can tell you what trades that I've taken. I've jumped in with a partial short on Bitcoin, preparing to add to the position if we have certain criteria met at this the orb high, and these we have the golden pocket here with white boxes. Anticipating a rejection here. That during this moment here, when we had this engulfing candle response, we had to break a structure. We stopped this annoying step ladder effect. When you have SFP step laddering you down, it keeps kind of messing up the stage for trades sometimes. But yeah, here we're kind of retracing after hitting the POC, and could be coming up to hit that golden pocket. We might get front ran by hitting the orb high and come down, then so be it, right? So yeah, lots of confluences here for rules for traders. Like if you're a Fibonacci trader, this is a good spot to prepare for potential entry, especially if you got the acceptance of into the orb again, below the VWAP. Macro downtrending momentum from 76K, keeping us down. Deviate from a local value area high. Volume shelf resistance. We just hit this node here. And that node coincides with the 250-day value area high from the range from back in the past here, way over here. So yeah, lots of confluences where we currently are, but I still, because of the structure, I have low confidence in the trade, so I only put in half risk. The structure makes things ugly. S&P 500. My brain's not on today. We're coming up now. Let's see. The 5 minutes kind of got this Adam and Eve posture. Lava Man, seems like people are putting their money into the market today, waiting for after hours to trade crypto. Oh yeah, okay. So you're waiting for like Tokyo session? I think Tokyo session is going to have a good stage for trades today. I think you're right on that one. Whether it be off these lows or off of the high here at 71. How's gold doing? Gold is breaching a key level right now, where all this liquidity is. Yeah, we're anticipating for it to come up to 48K. I spoke about that, I believe, yesterday and the day before. Kind of wait for it to creep up. This is a awkward leg climb, though. Good for shorts. Really good for shorts. When you see stuff like this. When you have steep momentum. What level invalidates the short? I'll go through that in a second, yeah. Actually, just in case you're taking action on something, the invalidation point's this high. We need a candle close above this wick at 69,301. is the invalidation point. If that break of structure will lead us past the momentum. We bump VWAP. Break this momentum. But you kind of want to have that price acceptance with a candle body close, because if we sweep that high, then it doesn't invalidate the move. I'll go back to gold here. Yeah, steep momentum leading up to a 50-day EMA, leading up to supply, previous value area low, 22-day value area low. Zoom out on the hourly so you can see where that value area came from. Like here, we had our value area high, value area low. We got acceptance into the value area. We had this break of structure, awkward one, of course. Might have had a lower time frame suggestion of acceptance, but we had that 50-day EMA kind of block it a bit, telling us that we're going to rotate down to the value area low. We ended up having continuation aggressively, but now the 50-day is kind of caught up to that value area low. It can act as a form of resistance. So gold's getting ready to potentially hit its head here. It's current. We can delete this. This is the supply. So there could be liquidity here being taken, but it looks like we're coming through it with strength. So I'll be watching for resistance around here. Preferably with the bearish change of character. Right now, our chalk level is low. Down here, which is a long wait. So hopefully we get better structure. If you look at the 15-minute, it's really dependable on that gold. So if we're going based on 15-minute structure, it would be this low here. We'd have the confluence of losing the orb. If it were to happen like right away, I mean, we had the confluence of losing the orb, VWAP, get the change of character, and that could bring us back down. We can delete some of this. We can delete this. We can look at start on the daily. Look for order blocks. So here, no, that wasn't one. And even if it was mitigated already. So we'll go down to the 8-hour. We had one here, mitigated already. 6-hour. Just created one, mitigated already. Okay. Mitigated. All right. Seems like if there's any fuel added to the charts, it was taken pretty quickly. We got one here. So basically what I'm looking for is like opposing support. So if we were ever to plan for a short, you want to know where your barriers are, right? We got this that could be adapted to. It's the moment where we left the valley area. Okay, send it back. We're on the 4-hour. Go to 3. Then the 2. Or, okay, sorry, the 1. Hourly here. Okay, we had hourly here, mitigated. Hourly here. Alright, cool. We can turn on the indicator that we use to confirm. Yeah, hourly. 4-hour. right, cool. And sometimes these are is a nice indicator because it helps you catch things you might have missed. So yeah, looking for short. If you're looking for shorts on gold, then these are your opposing confluences. You can screenshot this if you want. But roughly around 4,500. It's a key area of interest. We got a value area high here, 45.6. So I'll be looking for support here if looking for any shorts. This is where I'll be targeting. I'll be mindful of this low at 4,600. We're pretty close. And this is where all the confluences start. 4,800 for shorts. Just gotta wait for a structural agreeance. Don't just ape in at 4,800. Wait for the bearish change of character first. Go back to Bitcoin, see how it's doing. Are we creeping up again? All right, we're creeping up. So we tapped into our golden pocket. We swept both the highs that we have marked. So we need this candle to close below those highs for it to be considered a proper sweep. Preferably back inside the orb, so we have an invalidation of this change of character as well. A lot of noise on this chart, so I can delete this. We already have the confluences met, so we don't need to know about any of this stuff now. So we know that we swept this high. We know that we swept this high. Now we just want to have this candle to close below this high, which is at 68,650. So we have 2 minutes left on this 15-minute candle to confirm and validation of this change of character, and then maintain acceptance inside this orb. And that's what I'll be adding to my... I would like to add to my short if we... Yeah, get below this VWAP. One minute left. Let's see, this is what we're looking for. SFP. The reason why this candle is like brighter green than the other ones is because I programmed my orb indicator to do that for breaks. $60 seconds. Think about joining me? You just sold a bag. Caesar, hey brother. Time permitting, can you take a quick glance at Pendle? Yeah, we can do that. I've noticed it's working particularly hard to get out of the gutter. Yeah. Now, once we figure out what Bitcoin's doing here. Got the 12-minute close. All right. Bitcoin got the change of character, which increases the probability of it going up. Doesn't mean that it is, but it does increase the probability that's going to go up. We did sweep those highs. It's got the liquidity grab there. We created an orb. I mean, not an orb, an order block here, but it's just got mitigated. So now, in order for me to feel confident in adding to my position, I need to have a close below this VWAP. We kind of got the confidence of testing this momentum again. This is a good inducement too. Whenever you see a change of character in a random spot like this, you can stack liquidity below us. We could look at the liquidation heat maps to validate that first. Inducements usually are a good way for market makers to trick people into entries. Yeah, we got a bunch more liquidity added below us now. About $8 million, 10 million here. Some people that entered it already. Really early entry here. Jeez, guys. 38 million on that. But in the 48-hour, most of the weighted liquidity is below us. So just gotta wait for that close before we view up before we have that like higher confidence move down. Let's look at Pendle while we wait. That upside liquidity at 72 is really high. We got lots there. We looked at that this morning too. So if we have the candle body close above here, we have good reasoning to go after that liquidity. With a lot of opposing confluences kind of protecting it right here. At 71K. So like, yeah, if we get a close above 69,301, then we're likely to be coming here. Pull back off the 30-minute order block, supply cluster. Hit our head off the daily order block. Then from here on, we prepare for resistance. All right, Pendle. I don't know if I've done TA on Pendle before. It sounds familiar. I know there's a tool called Pendle. For marketing. We got Binance. Let's zoom out. Okay, I've done TA on this before. Preparing for shorts, it seems. Yeah, a long time ago, August 2025. Prepare for a short, the value area high, bearish change of character. Watching out for our support on the momentum. Got a bit of support, then end up collapsing down to the value area low and hasn't really stopped since. We can adapt this pull to our current price action now. Right, until the moment we lost the value area. We came up and used it as resistance. Got the lower low. Demand here kind of holding us up. Start downtrending momentum. Delete some of this noise though. It's the old trade. This momentum's been keeping it down since $5.07. So it's lost like a massive majority of its market cap since we lost that value area. Draw a horizontal right here. This can be a key level on our way back up, 244. If we come back up, that value area low's age is it's 680 days. daily order block below us. Daily order block above us. It's kind of similar positioning to Bitcoin in that sense, where it's got a daily order block and a 50-day EMA kind of merged together as a form of confluence past its downtrending momentum. All right, we got supply here. It's hard to see on the daily. We'll go to the 6 hour. See here, like clearer. Should mark that as an area of interest too. From the ceiling to the floor. Ceiling being the wick high. Floor being the wick low. Prepare for shorts here. Oh man. Kind of starts at 145. Pull a value area from the low to the current price action. We're at its local value area low. This value area is 55 days, so similar to Bitcoin. It's got a little bit of relative weakness against Bitcoin. What's the value of this value area? It's 12% from the low, or the value area low. We have a bullish change of character here on the 6 hour. Right. We've mitigated an order block here that kind of helped induce the pullback. We recently had this sweep of this low kind of acting as fuel to bring us back up. So if we get a 6 hour close above this high, we'd have to watch the point of control in confluence with this downtrending momentum that could induce a pullback to test the value area low. But if you get that higher high, then very likely to be breaching through this daily order block and preparing for resistance at the value area high here at $1.32. Cool. I hope that helps you out. But yeah, you can take a screenshot of this. Like 116.6 is a big key level that needs to close above for a strong continuation up. Otherwise, you should first prepare for this to potentially act as resistance. But that candle body close here would definitely invalidate that resistance and bring us right up. It's more of a macro asset for trading. It's lower market cap, so you have to worry about potential slippage. Let's see, if we go in Binance, lower time frames. There's some gaps in the candle, so the slippage isn't too bad. We've seen worse this morning, but if we're looking to prepare for something lower time frame, got this uptrending momentum. Our current key level is super low, unfortunately. This is the 15-minute. It's just not giving us any proper consecutive pullbacks. If we get two red candles and a higher high, then our key level will change from here to that newly formed low. But just right now, we don't have anything. I hope that helps you out. But yeah, macro, it's looking like it's getting ready. But we don't have that confirmation yet. Let's see how Bitcoin's doing. Are we getting what we want. Not yet. It's a DEX. Oh, cool. Okay. So if it's a DEX, you got to watch its tokenomics very carefully, because sometimes DEXs provide their issuances are high based on reward systems. Like think about PancakeSwap and Uniswap. They're usually the staple, right? A lot of exchanges kind of copy their systems. But yeah, if they have a burn rate day, pay attention to those burn days. They'll tend to have relative strength during those moments where it performs really well. For example, PancakeSwap's every Friday. You prepare for burn day every Friday on PancakeSwap. But if they have if they have an infinite supply system, it will be in a forever downtrend, inevitably in a forever downtrend, unless they change their tokenomics. I just picked up a flyer. Spot Gridbot. Oh, cool. Let's see if we can trade it back to $2. And yeah, I wouldn't expect its all-time high again if it has inflationary tokenomics, but yeah, could at least get to that value area high. The local one, the 55-day one. Volume kind of just died on us. Yeah, we got that. We're currently testing the liquidity grab here. So the bear, we got kind of opposing confluences are just fighting each other right now. We have the momentum, 250-day, and liquidity sweep, and loss of momentum here, and downtrend momentum here. Those are all of our bearish confluences. Our bullish confluences are the fact that we just had a bullish change character, right? Got above the orb or above VWAP after a test of the POC. So got a lot of conflicting data in one spot. Yeah, these are, yeah. So we went through the bearish. The bullish is the fact that we have this, the bullish change character, VWAP on our side. We tapped the macro value area low, but what we're lacking for our continuation for the bullish scenario is the close above this high. And that bullish scenario could bring us to at least 71K, in my opinion, and 72K to grab the liquidity. But if we come down from here, it sets a good stage for a big macro move up, squeezing more liquidity into creating a good short squeeze. And that squeeze could bring us to this apex point. That squeeze could bring us to like this apex point. Or it could drive the market down to grab liquidity at 59K before coming up and taking all that. That would be the maximum amount of pain that the market could give us, right? Coming down here and then taking all that liquidity for all the people that are in shorts. It's hard to know with all the manipulation that's been going on. Oh, word, that's interesting. Yeah, sounds right. I'm more reading here. Crazy day of price action across the board. Yeah. So why did I go short? I went on a partial. sorry, I said a lot already. We have basically liquidity supply here that we mitigated. We lost momentum. We retest that momentum as resistance, lost the VWAP, and the break of structure fall through. So it took the bullish confluences made me only jump in with a partial risk. And I was going to enter in if we had a good reaction here on the retracement. We had a good sweep of these highs, but the way the candle closed, we swept this high, we swept this high. We closed above this previous high, giving us the change of character. So we flipped bullish during that moment. If we get acceptance back in, close below the VWAP, or even preferably get the bearish change of character now. We have to close below this low now to flip bearish again. I'm going to add to my position. So we're kind of just waiting on these opposing confluences to help drive it back down. If they don't, then could have a move up and then we're focusing on longs. See you, Sunny. Thanks for jumping on. Any assets you guys want to look at? Do some TA and some other stuff. Hype, SUI. We can look at hype. We got a hype chart. Yeah, the local trend is, yeah. It's a bit of a contrarian entry. Yeah, waiting on. What's that? How long has it been since we looked at hype? Can't be that long ago. Hype looks like it has a lot of strength. Let me delete this, delete this. So we're deviated below this previous value area low here. For this like strong area of demand. We swept these lows recently. This area here. If we adapt our trend lines a bit, we got more broad momentum here. Internal momentum here. We had a change of character here. It's pretty steep. So you'd have to depend on a pullback in order to get an entry. We got an impulse fib from here to here, hitting the golden pocket. Kind of got that Batman inverse head and shoulders. We're confirmed bullish, but we want this unclaimed high taken for the continuation. But the downside with jumping in on that, we have a momentum-based target that will basically bring us to the momentum here, 59.13 or 39.15, sorry, and supply up here with this value area high. We have to check the order books and see if there's any a sell wall chasing this trend line or not. Otherwise, you don't trust trend lines unless you see a sell wall following it, in my opinion. But yeah, it looks like it's, yeah, very wide coffee trying to get its way up. I could delete this previous. So I guess the the better entry would have been down here. Probably depend on lower time frame structure to define your entry, but and fractalizing. So yeah, if you're not already in a long, then you're preparing for your exit plan or your short up here. In hopes for a strong continuation back up, but yeah, 38.20 is a good exit plan for anyone who's in shorts and hype. I mean longs and hype. Okay, this uptrending momentum, this is the evolving momentum here. Yeah, broad. How's Bitcoin doing? Still just stale. Doji reaction off of the ceiling of the orb. Okay, this structure here is making me a little bit more confident. Our 5-minute bearish change of character. Internal is internal to here. Internal to the internal. Yeah, this is the actual low. What about the bulls target? Explain that. Talking about Bitcoin? Yeah, the bullish target is depending on the continuation structure. So if we get the close, a full body candle close above 69,301, we'd break momentum, right? We get back above the 250-day previous Valerie high. What I'd be personally, I'd be targeting around 72K, where there's a large pooled amount of liquidity on the bull target here, right? But I'll be really cautious around 71,000 because we have our 50-day EMA, our value area high, and it's the equilibrium point to the daily order block. So we go to the daily. Zoom in on this thing. This is our order block candle. Confirmation of the engulfing response below, so long as we close below that doji. So there could be, what order blocks are, is that evidence of potential residual sell orders, right? So if there's residual sell orders in an area, you have to be cautious. As those orders get filled, we could end up seeing that induce the price action come down. I don't think we'll be going out to the extreme highs, but if we were to go up, yeah, 72K feels like the ceiling to me. If we look at the heat map, and we go over to the 2-week, because we've been downtrending for 2 weeks, so you can get a better visual. Here is where, yeah, majority of liquidity is kind of resting. Go to the 1 month. We got 72K. It's a key area of interest. Starts to go cold again, and then around 75K, there's more liquidity there too. A 3 month, because we've been in here for 54 days. Yeah. So quite a bit stacking above us now. A lot of people trying to catch the bottom early with all these early liquidations. Pretty crazy. Got divergence forming. Almost. The structure's a little off here. We're kind of at that moment now. We're going to come down, or we're going to go up and validate the short. Yeah, okay, we flip 69.5, we can get things going up. Yeah, exactly. Tron, ZAG, Ondo. Let's take a peek at Tron. I'm curious what Tron's doing, because Tron always has like its relative strength. I haven't looked at it since March 18th. Let's go to the 4 hour. What were we drawing before? We got our supply here, mostly mitigated. Just recently grabbed liquidity from those highs. We have momentum that's been keeping it up. I think this momentum is really old. Holy, yeah. Let's zoom out on the daily. Yeah, this momentum from 4 cents. We're at 31 cents now. So it's kind of testing macro legacy support right now. This was previous demand here. Now we got this demand here holding us up. Right, using this previous value area high as a form of support and confluence with our local value area low being flush with that point of control. So we're deviated pretty far away from its value area right now. Delete some of this noise. Is that Argus? I think I got Argus on this chart. I do, okay. So one exchange went crazy high. What exchange is that? BitGet? Yeah, okay, I got BitGet set for green. Looking at the daily, it's a bearish key level here. We can zoom in to the hourly. Oh man, it's change of character level was really low. It was here. We had a bearish flip here, which is nice. And then retested the gold pocket. So right now it's kind of dancing between its unclaimed high on the daily and its strong low on the daily. This being the unclaimed high, this being the strong low. starting to stack divergences. The ascending regression trends like this, they usually break to the downside. If it does, then we have demand here at the value area low. We have momentum here that's been holding us since 4 cents. 50-day EMA. 4-hour order block. So lots of confluences here for potential longs. If we came back down to 30 cents. But if we get acceptance into this value area again, we can see a much stronger follow through down to its value area low at 27 cents. Watching it for support 28. This is more macro. But yeah, if we get the continuation, we typically want to try to consolidate above this strong low on the daily. Let's just label this. But maintain that bullish structure. We could sweep it, which is fine. Just don't want to close below it. If we have consolidation and stack more liquidity above us, it can be used as buy side liquidity to help drive us back up. And his all-time highs are at 37 cents, but yeah. So right now, I'll be, because of a deviation from the value area, because we just went into the supply zone again, grabbed liquidity from this high, I'd be more prepared for it to come down rather than up. But this thing's got some relative strength moves. Bearish order block here. And zooming in, let's go to the 15-minute. Uh, 31.67. If we get a close above this high, we could have a move back up to 32 cents. Prepare for a move down. Got supply here, 4-hour order block. We mitigated this local supply already. And this would work well in confluence with Bitcoin confirming its close above 69,300 for its continuation. Yeah, I hope that helps you out. Our internal momentum is here. Zooming back in sec here. Yeah, our 15-minute change character level is super low. Like more reliable shorts would come from maybe a sweep of this high and a close below here, but we're having the 4-hour order block confluence because the structure is kind of steep. Let's go with the 5 for Bitcoin. Well, this was the other scenario we were talking about earlier. And if we didn't get the sweep and close inside the orb for the SFP, then we'd want to have like structure, like a double top, close back inside. Preferably wait for close below the VWAP before having stronger follow through down. We're starting to get divergences. One little indicator that I've got here is really fun. It's this one here. You can look at you can program it to whatever candle you want. right? So we can look at the daily candle, see how it's forming. You can look at the hourly, see how it's forming, right? And what it does is it has an RSI system built inside of it too. It looks for lower time frame divergences, and you can look at the higher time frame candle and see how it's forming to help you with your scalping. It's good for ICP traders, and it's good for just like higher time frame visualization, so you don't have to rotate between time frames as much. I'm not done with it yet. I want to adapt the pivot system, because I got a pivot system right now that kind of shows you, see these like white lines here surrounding the price action. It's based on like the 15-minute time frame now that we're on the 15. If I were to switch it around to a different time frame, it will change that pivot based on that. This is a free indicator you guys can have. When you go in the Discord, you can go over to the indicators. I don't think I have it programmed for everyone to see it yet. Man, I'm lost. Yeah, under the the section here. There are two indicators. So you would look up from precision divergence, MTF, and you'll see it there. We're starting to lose a 5-minute momentum. But it's meaningless until we get that close back inside the orb. The VWAP's against us too. So we need that close here. If we come down and test the VWAP and then retest the orb high, then get the lower low close, like this inverse head and shoulders posture, we have the internal change of character and have a lot more follow through for the drop. Hoorah! Do your job and drop, bro. I'm not ready for you to go up yet. If we keep rejecting off this macro momentum, we really set the stage for a massive compilation of liquidity above us. We've got a bunch here, confirmation below the POC. I bet you would see a lot of liquidity start getting stacked up here, right? And then we could see a really strong break of macro momentum to bring us up. Whether it be here or lower, it doesn't matter. But the lower the better, because we have better R&R, of course. We can prepare for it. What I really want to see have happen is like a good stage for an inverse perpetual long, so I can use coin margin, so I can risk to lose my Bitcoin to gain more Bitcoin instead of risking to lose USDT to gain more USDT. I gotta kind of tap that 76. So if we don't drop here, guys, we're not dropping. I think the probability is a lot lower once we get up here. Dropping all the Bitcoin. You can do it. I don't want to see any April Fool's crap from Donald Trump today. If the orange man tweets something ridiculous, I swear to God. Let's delete some of these tabs here. It's starting to get too many tabs, so slow down my stream. Just gonna take a peek at Forex Factory for a second. Today's the 1st. So today we have non-farm employment change. Let's reset this. Oh, it went up? Okay. Core retail sales, month over month. ISM manufacturing. So everything's above expected today. What was that that forecast is insane. Who's in charge of forecast? We're sweeping the low, but we want to close below the low. And sweeping the low can act as a conduit for a move up. I don't see unlocked indicators at Discord. That's because it's hidden right now. So I'm working with the only people that can see it are members, like people who are paying members right now. But we're going to be revealing it to everyone soon, as soon as I have the green light from 11x, because I want to be able to give everybody, whether you're a member or not, access to 11x's risk management indicator, because it's a game changer for beginners. Let me show you guys what I'm trying to get you guys right now. So we go over here, 11x. If I were to, when I click on this, you'll see a pop-up down below that says manually enter entry price. Right, so it's asking for its first anchor. Okay, so let's say I jumped in here, same spot, or let's say I jumped in here, doesn't matter. And now it's asking me to click for a stop loss price. So click here, and then take profit price. We'll click right here. At this point, the inputs come up for your trading balance. So let's say you're trading $1,000 account. You type in your preferred leverage. You could type in your risk value, whether it be a percentage or fixed. So if we're doing fixed, it would probably be around $10 for 1% of the value of your account. You type in your maker fees, The average is 0.02 right now, or 25, I guess now, eh? Taker fees is 0.06 is the average. And then you click on apply. And then you'll have I'm sorry about the noise on my screen, but let's analyze this part first then. So here you can see your entry. Let's move this aside to the left. Here, the red line represents where you'll actually be at break even based on the fees. And everything else is kind of obvious, like where your target is, your stop loss is. But on the right-hand side, we find a good spot where I can show you this. It'll show you your what your margin size should be, right? So $75.17 if you're using 11x leverage and you're trying to risk to lose $10. So it's trying to keep you consistent with your stop loss budget, which should be either between 0.5% or 1%. Your position size, what it'll be worth. So like $826.86 based on your entry price and your stop loss price. Your estimated P&L, $34.01. The only thing that this thing doesn't cover, because it shows you all the fees and all that stuff, is it doesn't cover funding rate fees, but they can't do that without using like some kind of API connection to an exchange anyway. So, and TradingView doesn't really allow that. So once I have the green light on that, because they're just working on the automation for it, whenever you go to the exchange, the Discord, and you click on submit username, you type in your username here, and you're done. And you'll get that indicator added. And down here, it's just the free stuff that you can find just by searching InvestiShare under indicators. Good day, JR. How you doing, man? Damn, Kyle, why did you mention the win streak? Yeah, I've been kind of close to 50-50 since the win streak was kind of breached, eh? But I'm not too worried about this setup yet. Here, yeah, anyone just jumping in now, I've put in a partial risk, waiting for the confluences and structure to define whether or not I can add to the position. I'm targeting the value low at least 66.1, but we can go lower. Like 65.9 and 64.9. Our invalidation point comes from a close above 69.3. No, I didn't load yet. No, I didn't add to my position. Well, we're seeing the confluences, like we got our 786 hit, right? We just created an order block, a bearish order block, showing us signs that there's large trade participants driving the market down a bit. The main thing that I just want to see, because we're still below that momentum, we're below that 250-day value high. We just tapped it after grabbing this liquidity. I want to see us get acceptance back inside the orb, since we're not going to have a change of character here. We didn't have a proper pullback. Retest, lose the momentum. Lose the VWAP, sorry. I want to lose that VWAP before adding to my position. Like, my position's already giving me a 1 to 2, but I'll have a greater risk to reward ratio if I add to my position the remaining amount of my risk. If we came up, no, we don't have a proper pullback here either. But if we had a proper pullback here and we took this high, then I'd potentially do that. But VWAP's kind of flatlining. I got Sterling and I have finished the intro song music video. They've been working on it for like on and off for like 3 weeks for a while. I think Sterling's completely over it because he's been doing the editing and the AI video generations, and I've been the douchebag that's telling him no, change that, change this. But yeah, he should be proud of it though. It looks really good. That'll be out at 2 o'clock today, so in an hour and a half. It's scheduled to be released. And that's not an April Fool's joke, I promise. It's actually going to be released. Your Lava Man 68,600 plays to take long and put a stop loss. 68.6. Internal, we'd have an internal change of character here. It's internal to the internal, unfortunately. We have a proper pullback here, so it'd be like you're defining everything based on lower time frame. We already have a bearish change of character on the 3 minute. What I really want to see have happen though, man, just to make you for a safer entry and sacrifice some of the gains for security and get back below this VWAP. You know, it stays true to your stop loss being up here, not moving it to here. Not moving it to here. You don't want to move your stop loss from here to here until we get a close below this low. Then after we have our follow-up change, break of structure, then we can start rotating it again from like here to potentially here. So yeah, no confidence yet on the short, like adding to the position or creating a new one if you're just jumping in. We're looking super low time frames. We could be coming down to test this 3 minute, 5 minute order block in confluence with the 786. Since we flipped bearish already, you can do your pull from the high to the low. But yeah, we need that close in here. What is that an indicator showing your break of structure and change of character? Yeah, I've got. It does make things lazy mode for sure. So this one from this market structure from 11x. I believe I have it in the description down below for you guys to get like a 10% discount on it, but it is more on the higher side. I'd recommend getting the lifetime plan if you decide to get it. It's super handy. It does more than just give you market structure though. It shows you fibs. It'll draw your fibs and it'll do it properly. Like it does. The only thing I just don't have it on my chart because it, for me, it's a little bit noisy, but it's like, yeah, really helpful. Because I don't use every fib that it will suggest. But yeah, you can show you change character, SFPs, breaks of structure, internal structure versus external structure. It will show you different forms of market structure based on close wick base, close base. I do close wick base because they have more follow through. less R&R, but more follow through and higher probability. It shows you inside bar scenarios, which is pretty intense. All right, we have this played out, so we can just delete that. I'm just going to wait for the confirmation now. Graw can do that candle stuff. Where did I see that? Can you do that stuff in 5 seconds? Yeah, but does it do it right? So you just got to make sure you're, you know what an SFP is, a break structure is, and a change of character is before you depend on AI to do stuff for you with a screenshot. I've tried that out before. Like, what was AI's opinion of the market? Where is it going to go in it? Yeah, it's tough to trust because it'll be very biased by what you already have on your screenshot. So if you draw on like resistance or support or anything like that, it'll be biased to what you have. So you make sure you give it a clean chart to give it so it's not being a yes man to your own TA. You probably expect to get stopped out. Just make sure all your rules are being met so you have the probability factor too, not just the risk management. Because we're one break of structure away. There's no proper pullbacks in here, but this higher high, if we get above this, we can very easily get up here. XAG was request. I'm sorry, guys. This is silver. Silver's breaking momentum. Yeah, out of macro value area low. This value area low has been keeping it down. Well, this is an 83-day value area low. Value area, sorry. We got the 50-day EMA at 78.35. Everything on the daily is internal to 96 to 61. We had that bullish SFP dictating a move back up to this high here at $89. So its daily structure suggesting a move to $89. We tested the 200 simultaneously alongside that. Now we're just coming up to opposing confluences. We're trying to get acceptance in the value area. It seems like we might have already. We're just going to watch it for the 50-day in hopes that we get the continuation up to 89. If we zoom in a little bit now, we got the 4-hour. Our 4-hour key level broke. We got the close above it. Retest to that value area low. So that's looking strong so far. At the 4-hour order block and confluence with this 50-day EMA, so you have to watch that. And 78.46 is going to likely induce a pullback to retest the value low again. Delete this. We got that swept. Uptrending momentum here. We can delete this. That evolving momentum has been broken. We're currently using this momentum as a form of potential support. Hourly confirmed. Yeah, hourly confirmed already. 4-hour has not. We have supply here. It's kind of helped induce these pullbacks. And we're almost 50% mitigated that area. It's fully mitigated at 76.82. So if I were to draw pathing, where I expect for us to go from here is potentially up. Likely hit our head. And prepare for support here again. Retesting momentum in confluence with that value area low and these previous highs. But overall, a potential full rotation back up to its value area high at $91. And resistance at 84. But getting to 84 will be above the 50 days, so we could hit our head off that and retest the 50-day EMA in confluence with this momentum if it maintains by then. Like some kind of pathing, some sort of, yeah, pathing kind of like this. That guy I do mixed martial arts with just bought like $103,000 of silver in bars. I never seen that much silver in person before. But I couldn't even pick it up. It was ridiculously heavy. Bitcoin. You can do it. Just stop consolidating, bro. Confirm the drop. It's easy. I used to do it to sign the other day for thumbnails. Give it a try. You can always change it. Another second. Yeah, the flow that we do is pretty interesting. Yeah, Sterling kind of touched on it in the chat, but basically we create an image, right? Using usually my face, right? And then that becomes the first frame that we use for image to video prompting. And then sometimes we'll use the end frame of that video to continue the next image to video prompt. As a way of being consistent. And that's how people are able to like keep the same kind of character appearance whenever they use AI, instead of having like a randomly generated different picture every time. Bitcoin, you look tired, man. Just take a break at 60K. Yeah, just have a rest. You've been running uphill for too long. Now it's time to come downhill. Another order block created. Another order block mitigated. And we know you want to go down. You can do it. You grabbed all that newly added liquidity from this morning. You stack some more here for a market maker later. Retrace 50% of the candle, then drop. Do I trade divergences? It's not a. I don't depend on divergences to do my trades, but they're a nice confluence. I depend on changes of character or a bearish flip at value area highs in demand or supply zones. Basically, it's what I look for. And probably, a loss of momentum, kind of like what we have here. So like this trade here's a decent example. I did stupid things here today on that day. But bearish change of character at a value area high, loss of momentum, and supply targeting the value area low. In a lower time frame setting like this, and macro settings too. You could have value areas that are 200 and some days old sometimes. You get 50-day value areas, you get 4-day value areas. But I prefer to trade off of mature value areas, so I need to have price action to find supply, drop, bullish change of character or flip, bearish change of character or flip, and then I'd start my pull from here on. Unless we mitigate that supply, then I include the supply in the pull. And the bullish case scenario is the opposite. Impulse move up, demand, bearish change of character or flip, bullish change of character or flip, start my pull. But if we mitigate demand, then I include that into my pull. And these value areas can last days, weeks, months. And then when we have that value area established, I look for a bearish change of character or bullish change of character at the value area low or at the value area high. If I trade a deviation, I prefer that deviation to be around 25 to 50% of the range. To find out that deviation, you can either visualize it or you can use Fibonacci from the value area high to the value area low. And use stuff like this. That's hard to see. I'm just trying to modify that for people to copy it later. But you can use, this is a little bit easier to see, sort of. But yeah, 25% levels, 50% levels tend to give you like the best opportunities. The larger the value area, usually the better the R&R. But you tend to want to have at least a 1 to 2. You're going for those 1-to-1s. It's hard to be consistently profitable if you just keep going for 1-to-1s. There are strategies out there for 1-to-1s, but they have to be like normally like lower time frame stuff. And you want to have a win rate of above like 60 to 70%. My win rates since April 2022 has been close to 80%. Since my win streak I lost here, it's been 50%. But yeah, I was on a tear here. Won like 3 weeks I was on a 3-week win streak. It did take that high. Yeah, Swift the local high. You just tuned in. Brief recap. Yeah, we can do that. So Bitcoin, we're kind of in a make it or break it moment. I took a partial entry on a short. We recently had this bullish SFP, bullish change of character at its macro value area low, dictating potential rotation up to its value area high at 71K. However, we're kind of at this moment where we're seeing opposing confluences. We have downtrending momentum. We hit our head off a volume node that's in confluence with the 250-day value area high. So with the opposing confluences in mind, we lost momentum as we hit that downtrending momentum. And we are... Here I jumped in on a partial entry and a short. We got that retest to the momentum, break a structure. After losing the VWAP. So I risk lose 50% of my normal risk because of the fact that we didn't actually have like an actual bearish change of character. It's kind of low, it's steep. So it's a bit of a front run scenario using this high as my stop loss guard. This high is also the invalidation point that could dictate a strong move up. So closing above this, not sweeping, but closing above this high at 69,300 would break this downtrending momentum after a bounce off of this POC. And that's when we'll be likely to have that move up to 71K, up to as high as 72K. 72K has a stupid amount of liquidity that can be taken, but there's opposing confluences that are currently guarding it that you got to take account for, like the 55-day value area high, the equilibrium point for the daily order block, and the 50-day EMA. Right now, we're kind of, before I add to my position and be more confident in this short, I want to see acceptance back inside this orb. We anticipated the possibility of a retracement, right? So if we pull our fibs, my brain's off right now. Sorry, guys. Pull our fibs. We have just hit the 786 gold pocket area, and which is aligned with grabbing liquidity from these local highs and that 250-day value high. So what I want to see have happen is acceptance back inside the orb, which is the first 15-minute candle high and low, and a close below that VWAP. And then I'll likely add to my position from there. My R&R is already a 1 to 2, but it can be a little bit better, and I can have proper risk entered into it. Maintain the same stop loss, but if we get that lower low, a close below here, and that break of structure continuation, then I might be able to move my stop loss from here to here. Assuming that this is the high that we create before taking that low. And then targeting 66,100. Potentially lower where there's liquidity at 65.9 and 64.9. Do we think we can jump up to 80K? Not likely. No, I don't think so. Not saying that's not possible, but to get to 80K would mean we would break structure on most of the higher time frames except for the daily. We have a lot of supply still left at 76 up. We have tons of liquidity at 72K. We have tons of liquidity that starts at 75K. That could all be used as exit liquidity for market makers. So this is a stupid answer, but in order for me to think about 80K right now, we need to close above like 79,388. It's like there's like a lot that needs to be mitigated first before I can assume 80K can be reached. I would feel more confident in 80K. Like if 80K were to happen, if we were to get 80K, we would be getting to 86K basically. it wouldn't just be 80K. We'd be likely hitting the 200-day EMA in confluence with this previous value area low at 75, or the 75-day value area low at 86.6. So if we break 76, I think we're going to go right to like 84, 86. And creating like an ascending double bottom posture. We're kind of just on our way down from this fishhook structure. I'd really like to have 59K taken before thinking about 80,000 or higher. Like kind of repainting the same fractal that we've had last time we had this exact on-chain metric criteria. Like if we look at the glass node, it's probably going to force me to log back in. Yeah, I logged into my other computer, so it kicks me out of this one. I'm not a robot. How many bicycles do we got here? I gotta love doing this crap every single time I go on to. Okay, so yeah, on-chain metrics wise, I did a report recently for the community in sec here. Zooming in. Just gonna go to the Newpol chart. Normally in a bear market, for us to call bottoms, we capitulate. And we had a brief moment of capitulation when we got below 62,800. But I do think that we have one more sweep down lower before we can assume the bottom. So we can have similar criteria to calling the bottom like we had every single time we've called the bottom using on-chain data. In order for us to capitulate, we need to see this chart below the zero level. Capitulation basically tells us that a massive majority of holders are holding at a loss. Miners are creating tokens at a loss, which sounds terrible, but it means miners aren't going to be selling their assets. They're going to be holding it until they're actually able to sell it at a profit. So they're not going to contribute to the sell pressure. So here I'm anticipating us to get down to this area when we're at the price tag of between 55K and 52K. And at that point, I'll be preparing for an inverse perpetual long. I only do those types of trades like once or twice per cycle. And those are like the life-changing type of trades. So I'm kind of hoping for all these on-chain macro conditions to be met first. And it's not up to me, obviously, but those are the confluences that I look for. But yeah, we're awfully close to it. Now, last time we were at the current criteria that we're in right now was when Bitcoin was at 20K. That's how we got that fractal pulled, when we had on-chain metrics met that match our current price action. And going back to here, supply and the profit and loss, we currently have 53.62% of the supply and the profit, which is based on the last price that we have marked actually is around 56%. So we're seeing that a lot of people are actually accumulating at these prices. So what I'm really cautious about is a black swan event that's going to dictate the bottom. Like we had last cycle was we had the Luna crash and we had the FTX collapse, right? And that's what created the whole reserve systems that we have now, which is one of the positive things that came out of that FTX collapse was how accountable exchanges have become with Merkle root technology. So I'm thinking that this time around, and you can write this down if you want, because it's like worse than 2008 crap, is a private credit system collapse. And we're already starting to see that glass floor start to crack. And that's because BlackRock and Fidelity, all the people that are they're using private credit systems are starting to freeze withdrawals. And that's just pretty damn scary. So people won't be able to get loans anymore because bank regulations have kind of slowed down that process a lot. That's what created like the need for private credit, or at least the want for it. So that's what my thoughts are on in the macro setting. I'm just waiting for a potential black swan event creating a sweep. Then we use that as a conduit to prepare for an entry, and when those macro conditions are met. And it's a long wait. So like we're looking at up to 3 months. All right, we got divergences forming now. Inverse, you mean BTC instead of USDT, correct? Yes, I do mean that. I keep saying inverse perpetual, but they rebranded it. So back when I first started trading, it was called inverse perpetual. Now it's called coin margin. So whenever you see coin-m on your exchanges, that's what I mean when I say inverse perpetual. I'm trying to change that terminology. I gotta get that out of my head because not many people know what I'm talking about. But yeah, coin margins when you're risking an asset instead of USDT. Which comes at higher risk because if you're wrong on a long, your collateral goes down with it. And so if you're trading with 2x leverage, it's almost as if you're trading with 4x leverage in terms of where they will put your liquidation price. So obviously you shouldn't be thinking about your liquidation price unless you're using super high leverage. You should be thinking about where you put your stop loss. But I'm just saying that out loud for those of people who don't use their stop losses, because if they use coin margin and you're aping in with like 4x, it's, if you think about the current price where Bitcoin is right now, like 68,000, if we were to enter a 2x leverage long on USDT, then you're going to get liquidated around 34,000, right? Whereas with coin margin, it's you divide that number in half. It's even, yeah, it's 25%. It's about 50% closer than that. Sorry. So you'll be liquidated probably around like 40 to 50K instead of 34K. My brain's not braining right now. But yeah, guys, I gotta go. What I'd be just a quick recap of what I'm asking for from the market, if it will be polite, is like we got divergence forming. We got lots of great confluences for a short right now. It's just in order for me to feel confident in adding more to my position, because I only have half risk, I want to get a close below this VWAP, because by then we'd break this low. We would mitigate this internal demand. We'd have acceptance into the orb again, right? So we might have like a low time frame, like head and shoulders kind of posture that could bring us down. At that point, once we have a 5-minute candle close below this wick or a 15-minute candle close below the VWAP, then I'll be jumping in with my usual risk. Instead of doing 0.5%, I'll be doing 1%. Stop loss staying here. above 69.3, and then targeting 66,100 and lower. If we instead invalidate this whole drop concept with a close above here, then we'll be watching the 50-day EMA, equilibrium point of the daily order block, basically the value high at 71,050, in hopes for continuations to 72,000. So your stop loss suggestion on this, if we get a close above here, is currently this low right here at 67.7. So the R&R is not going to be great from that close from here to here, but you'll get it if we get to 72K where most of the liquidity is resting. If I did a mock-up on the long, it would look something like, yeah, barely there, 166. So the entry criteria kind of came and went down here when we had this 15-minute bullish change of character after this SFP. And retracement from the low to the high here. We just tapped that golden pocket. Stop loss entry here, stop loss here. That's easy to say in hindsight. I was using this as an exit plan for my short. And at the time, I wasn't considering entering into a long at that time. But yeah, this is kind of like that make it or break it moment for this continuation up. And we're focusing on the break it moment. Okay, what are you saying there? I think Microsoft goes bankrupt as my black swan. Oh, that is terrible. Bitcoin needs to get to 8,500 for them to be bankrupt, I believe. That's their liquidation point. That'd be a nightmare. And that would feel like it's being attacked by BlackRock for sure. That'd be my conspiracy. But yeah, hopefully no. I'm kind of I don't even have any MicroStrategy stocks, but yeah, they're one of my favorite companies though. So hopefully they don't, yeah, that doesn't happen. That'd be a nightmare. It was 32K. I don't think it's 32K. I think it's much lower because they have the ability to deleverage, whereas most psychopaths and companies in the space don't. So I think they have the ability to deleverage and lower down to 8. Because they had that same, I remember this exact same conversation last cycle where they can get liquidated at I think it was 20-something thousand, and they lowered it too. They deleveraged at that point. I'd have to double check, but Josh saying 8K plus 1 year at least. Oh yeah, okay. I cast fire short. That sounds like a spell, bro. 1 minute chalk now. You're looking at 1 minute structure. You had 1 minute break of structure. 1 minute SFP. Oh, I see that change of character here. We swept the high. Yeah, that's funny. All right, guys. I gotta go. Can someone bail them out? Who will? I'm not sure. They can get more VC funds to bail them out. But yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, we got a video releasing in an hour for the. You guys been asking me for it probably like 500 times to release the song that we use for the intro and for public use. So have a crypto song to listen to while you're doing your trades. You guys have yourself an amazing day. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything. I'm going to try to catch up on some work for the community, and then, yeah, all right. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern. See you guys.